really loving the thought of like, what does it mean for me to be unapologetic? Like, what am I exploring in a session where the goal is to be more unapologetic, especially as someone who's had a history of codependency and people pleasing? Like, that used to not even be a part of my vocabulary. And so even still, even though like I've done a ton of work on myself, there's still major areas, you know, like in my business, for instance, that I feel like I'm apologetic for many times. So that's what was exciting for me. What my biggest takeaway was just how my different parts were at war with each other to a degree, or maybe there was some unconscious shaming of certain parts that actually really have good intentions for me. It's something I've explored personally quite a bit. And I think there was a part of me rejecting that I needed these boundaries and a specific container and really needed to focus in on that. There's a part of me that was avoiding that to a degree.
Yeah.
And I think that it was like, oh my God, it could be that simple. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's kind of, I'm not mad about it. It's great, but it like, oh, it gets to be that simple. It doesn't have to be so complicated, or, you know, I don't have to like shame myself for it, or even like necessarily spend a lot of time and energy. Maybe not. Oh, I'll spend time on it, but like spend like worrying energy over it.
And what's the difference between, because you said that you kind of did some of that by yourself. So what's the difference between the work that you had done by yourself versus the work that I guided you through today?
Having a mirror is so different. Like I came to actually the conclusion I needed to create a better contract multiple times, but I didn't actually really reset certain boundaries. You know, it was like, maybe I just need to change this little thing, or like, you know, maybe I need to change my refund policy, but that doesn't actually address the deeper root cause. And so with having someone like you to show me where I'm going with it, you know, like where I'm missing some of the things and where the blind spots are, it creates a much bigger picture of like, oh, like something about me doesn't want to create these boundaries, or like something about me right now doesn't feel safe to do the work I want to do in the world because I don't have these boundaries. Like that doesn't work at all. Like I'm going to continue to be in this sense of doom of my own design if I don't do something. And so I think that in general, working with someone who can really reflect that back to you is so important, no matter who you are, whether you're some like, you know, you do this as a living or not. Like it's just human to have these blind spots. And so like having someone like you who really, I feel like is an integrity with like being in service and open to the mystery of what unfolds in a session, it really allowed things to go where they needed to, instead of it being constricted and rigid and like already like predestined, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So you would recommend the session?
Yeah, I would recommend the session. I feel like I feel much more unapologetic right now. I feel much more able to break out of the box